You are here because you want to be a better reader. And it can be overwhelming in this age with all the flood of information we get. How to read this, how to read that, how to take notes. All this content and these tips and tweets, they can be a lot to take in. And I'm part of that, don't get me wrong. But the point is, how can we approach getting better at reading with more confidence? And I think that there's this simple shift in mindset we can apply that isn't a one trick solves all kind of thing for reading. It's not any of that. I'm not offering that. I'm offering a way to approach the skill of reading more confidently. And it's the idea that reading is made up of many individual skills that we first must become proficient in before we can then apply them as one seamless habit. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's take the deadlift as an example. The compound lift that you do in the gym. Deadlifting requires many individual cues. You have to position your feet correctly. You have to brace your lats. You have to brace your glutes. You have to breathe in properly and really engage your core. And then that's just the beginning. While you start going up, you have to coordinate every joint and know when to move this and when to extend that. And that's a lot. And if you've ever been a beginner in the gym, you'll know how hard that is. It's frustrating because you get one or two things right, but then there's another thing you forget. And once you get that right, you might have forgotten the other two things. And it's this clunky, clumsy process of trying to remember all these cues and questions and skills that you have to apply to execute a proper deadlift. And it's the same for reading. Reading involves note-taking. It involves critical thinking. It involves the ability to ask the right questions and engage with the author and take smart notes and then process them later. And to a beginner, that's a lot. To someone who wants to take their reading seriously, that's a lot. And it's a struggle at first. If we change our mindset to understand the fact that all these skills will culminate in something eventually. If we approach each skill as one individual thing, then that's good at first as beginners. But we have to understand that it becomes easier over time. Things get easier. And it won't always be a case of having to remember all of these individual things. Because once you become proficient in each individual thing first, you'll then in the future be able to apply them as one. Like the deadlift. If you've been experienced in the gym with deadlifts, then you'll know that if you go up to the bar and if I ask you to perform a deadlift, it's not hard at all. You don't have to think about anything, you just do it. And because you've practiced and integrated all those cues individually, you've with time and effort, you've eventually been able to put them into one seamless move, the deadlift. And it's exactly the same with reading. And that sort of mindset should embolden you to continue and to move forward. And know that maybe now you struggle. That deserves some self-respect already, because you sat down and you wanted to grip and battle with a book. And it's okay to have these setbacks and to have obstacles and feel like you're clumsy at first, because chances are you are. I still kind of suck at reading, and I'm always trying to get better and apply these cues and tips and tricks I find. And that's okay. But the point is, at first you will face these obstacles, but what awaits you later? You won't have to do the same thing. You won't have to mentally exert yourself as much, because they'll become part of your nature. They'll become part of your innate habit. So if you're showing up and reading and being consistent and putting the effort in, then I wouldn't let these thoughts of perfectionism or imposter syndrome get the best of you. Because like anything, it's challenging. And it really is a pain in the arse sometimes. You feel like you're not ready to read these. You feel like you aren't built for reading, and it's horrible. These are horrible thoughts, but you have to know that it's a learning process that takes time. And once you then apply all these individual things and integrate them into a habit, it becomes easier. And things do get better. So I want you to walk away, if you ever felt those feelings of doubt and imperfection and feeling like you can't read properly, then I want you to just take that mindset shift and apply it. Take it, and the next time you sit down to read a challenging book, think, okay, I'm going to focus on all the tips and all the skills that make up reading individually. And if I forget or fail to do something somewhere else, that's okay, because I'm practicing. And one day it won't be like that. One day you'll just be able to sit down with a book and be harmonious in your reading and apply everything seamlessly without a second thought, just like the deadlift we talked about earlier. So do give yourself that credit and that self-respect, because you're doing great. And the very fact that you sit down to read in the first place is great, and that deserves a lot of respect. Stay confident and don't be disheartened when you encounter obstacles, because that's part of the process. It's part of the learning process. Thank you for watching.